Game 5 of the World Championship was a thrilling game. Nepomniatchchi started with e4, Ding replied e5, and we have the Ruy Lopez. a6, bishop back, knight f6, castles. So we have the main line, and here instead of the main move rook e1, Nepo goes for d3. A change in move order. Bishop b3, d6, and now c3. Andy Marshall line, where you're stopping the early c3, allowing d5 Marshall attack, castles, and h3. All these moves are opening theory. So white is going to do the normal Ruy Lopez maneuver with the knight and get d4 soon. That's why he has played h3. Now, bishop b7, a4. A very useful move in the Ruy Lopez because you're hitting at the b5 pawn. Knight a5, bishop a2, and c5. Also very natural. The black player wants to clamp down on d4. Now comes the first move that's out of theory. Till now, everything was theory, and this is the first new move. And here, Ding took a lot of time to understand what is this move about. And he decided to play h6. So the idea of bishop g5 is he wants to exchange and then keep control of the light squares. He's giving black the bishop pair, but he's got good light square control in the position. Like f5 square is ripe, knight e2, knight d2, and then get one of the knights to f5. And this square is also weak. That's the idea. Takes, because white has no advantage in really keeping the tension on the b file. Takes and knight d2. Knight c6, bishop d5. Rook takes. So black surrenders the a file, but only temporarily because white can't really enter on any of these squares. So which means black can just move and control the file again. Queen d7, rook e1, and rook a8. Queen goes out of the a file. Bishop d8, and knight f1, the knight maneuver. Takes, exchange of light square bishops. Now the light squares are even more weak if the knights land there. Like both knights have now got a chance to land on f5. Here, knight e3 and bishop b6. This maneuver was a bit problematic for Ding. The bishop actually was useful on the king side, where it could have controlled important squares like stay on f6 maybe. But it went to the queen side to control this diagonal. And now pawn h4. This is where Nepo starts to play really well. He first gains space. He can also play knight h4 first to knight f5 right now. But first he gains space on the king side with the h pawn. Queen c6 and h5. He clamps down on the king side. Now Ding is feeling the tension. Pawn c4. Ding tries to create activity with c4. His idea is to play b4 soon and get the rook down to a2. Now Nepo plays d4, and here Ding took on d4. Slightly better option would have been rook d8, tactically defending the e5 pawn, because if takes, I just take back attacking the queen. So that was an option. And d5 is not really a problem because then the bishop opens up. Something like queen d7 and the bishop opens up, it becomes good for okay for black. So takes, slightly bad decision by Ding here to take, and knight takes, queen c5. This was a move in the wrong direction. It was better to go to d7. It was the actually b7 is the best option here because you want to keep the idea of b4. That's the point of going to b7. It went to c5, the queen, and now queen g4. Suddenly white's in control. Queen e5, knight f3. Queen gets kicked, and now knight f5. So this is a critical moment of the game. It's soon approaching because now the light squares are being controlled by the white pieces. Complete light square control. Once a rook comes to d1, it will be great. So what should black do? Ding decided to play knight takes knight, but the better option would have been just to play queen f6, asking white to take. In which case, there's more simplification and it becomes manageable for black. But after knight takes back, rook is defended, queen is attacked. This pawn is a very useful pawn. f6 is in the air. And this is where Ding kind of panicked and played the wrong move. This is where the game turned. Ding wanted to stop f6, so he played queen f6. Looks very natural, but at the top level, this would be punished. And the correct move would have been queen d7. What is the idea? f6 is not something to worry about. That is the plan. So if you play f6 now, you lose a queen, so you can't do that. Queen f4, right, to play f6. But then black would just go bishop b8, stopping f6. Now queen e4, attacking the rook and attacking e8. But then we can just go d5. So this is why the queen on d7 does a very good job. Queen takes, rook takes is not a problem because the white king cannot get out of the check. Like right now, there's going to be a rook check and the bishop is going to get out. And if you play g3, then check anyway and the bishop gets out. And black is totally fine. So that is why queen d7 was a very important way to stop f6. But Ding played, instead of queen d7, queen f6. And the game turned. Queen e4. White takes control, attacking the rook. Rook a2 doesn't really do anything because the queen gets in. Rook b8, keeping an eye on the bishop, defending the bishop. And now rook e2. Very useful move. He's defending b2 against any sort of b4 counterplay because you can just take. b2 is defended. And defending f2 as well. Now bishop c5. Ding is really trying to play b4. That's his only source of counterplay because he could not get d5. If he got d5, d4, he would have been fine. But yeah, now g4, gaining space. And now queen went to d8 because g5 is coming. Queen went to d8 and here came queen d5, stopping b4 because then queen takes pawn happens. So here king f8, bringing the king in to avoid any rook e7 or rook e8 in the future. Sort of a useful move. King f1. A little bit weird move because, of course, you want to keep the king on a light square, right? You don't want to go to h2. g2 f1 makes sense. But g2 is a bit more practical, but more natural as well. But why did Nepo not want to go to g2? If king to g2, Nepo might have been thinking queen c8 comes, trying to play queen b7 and exchange queens. But then f6 is not possible in this position because of queen take g4, right? That is why Nepo played king f1 to avoid queen c8 exchange of queen's idea and to stop queen g4 with check. Because then if you play queen c8, f6, queen takes g4, there is rook e7. Position is just lost. White just totally winning. So that is the reasoning behind moving the king to f1 instead of g2. A little bit weird. Rook c8. And here Ding starts to play really badly. The idea of rook c8 is he's trying to play b4 again, indirectly defending c4. So, but then he missed Nepo's next move, rook e4, a very strong move because he's stopping b4 again. So the rook is just useless over here. So here Ding goes back, rook to b8. So he just repeated c8, b8, wasted two moves because of missing White's moves. And this is where Nepo takes the game to a winning position. He plays the crushing g5 move. He breaks through. So what is the idea? The idea is after takes rook g4. And actually, in this position, the best defense was queen d7. And what would happen? Takes, takes, and then f6. This is the way to play. Rook e7 is a threat. But then there can be queen check, and after king e2, queen g2. So the way to win this is you can just go rook e7. Queen takes, king moves. And if queen check, king moves, queen check, king moves, and you're out of the checks. Everything is safe, and you're safe. But here Ding took, totally clueless about what Nepo is gonna do. Nepo plays rook g4, and the key point is you can't play f6. Why can't you play f6? Because the king is totally unsafe, and now knight h4. That's the killer move. If the knight lands on g6, it's game over. You got to take, and if you take, then comes h6. And h7 is coming, rook g7 is coming, pawn takes, everything is coming. And this is just totally gone. Which is why after rook g4, the position is just completely lost for Ding. So Ding goes for some last minute desperate counterplay, rook a8. But now it's too late. Knight takes g5, rook check, king e2. King g2 was also more natural and maybe safer, but he didn't want to allow the exchange of queens, probably. Queen check, knight e4. Now f6 is coming. So Ding played queen e8. And now king f3, getting out of the pin, opening up his the possibilities for the knight. And here queen a8. But after the exchange of queens, the position is still winning for white. f6 just completely winning. See how useless this bishop is. The bishop is on the most like superficially most active place on the board on c5, where you would normally develop it in a Joko piano or some opening. But it's totally useless. It's not able to defend its king at all. It's doing absolutely nothing here. So the maneuver of the bishop, that was a strategic mistake, as we can see now. Now g6, but after takes, it just gone. Rook a2, attacking the b pawn. So again, a little bit of counterplay, but Nepo manages it well. He plays king g4. If rook takes b2, just yeah, rook takes b2 happened, and then rook h6. And here Ding resigned because knight g5 and rook h8 is mate. And if you play king move, then anyway knight g5 comes, and the pawn just promotes. So there is nothing for black to do here. And this is how Nepo just crushed Ding in game 5 of the World Championship, taking the lead again.